Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where it's beginning to feel like autumn here in the UK, and we've also been told to expect 6 months of mini lockdowns throughout the cold, dark winter. So, with all that in mind, I've made the very brave step of ordering myself a COVID winter survival pack. At least that's how I sold the idea of pre-ordering an Xbox X to my wife. So that should keep me quiet and out of trouble this winter. But today, I want to explore how AI is shaping the future of marketing. And my guest today is also passionate about enabling marketers to make user-centric, data-driven decisions about designs without the labour-heavy process of data collection. But as always, I don't want to reveal too many spoilers. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Lithuania so I can speak with Camilla from AttentionInsight, who's going to tell me all about what they do there and how AI is shaping the future of marketing. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Hey Neil, it's awesome to be here. So I'm Camilla, CEO and co-founder of AttentionInsight, AI-powered pre-launch marketing analytics. And we are excited to be enabling marketers and business owners around the globe to optimize their campaigns and website before they hit the launch button. And I'm a marketer and data geek myself, so I love to work with companies and brands to be able to achieve their goals even before they start.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to finding out more information about AttentionInsight. But before we begin, you did mention that you're a data geek there. So I've got to ask, what is the story behind AttentionInsight? What put you on this path and what kind of problems did you set out to solve?
So as mentioned, I'm a marketer myself. I worked in industry for years all over the globe, around Europe and also partially in Canada. And one of the things that keep frustrating me throughout the process of moving from one agency to another and becoming a CMO myself was the lack of quick and private and scalable way to do pre-launch campaign testing. And I started to work in consumer behavior fields. I discovered neuromarketing, eye tracking, brainwave activity tracking, and I realized how centric the user is in the decision-making process when it comes to marketing campaigns. Unfortunately, as we all know as marketeers and all small business owners know, you don't have sufficient enough time to do user testing, as awesome as it is, because you need to launch your campaign or your website in a matter of hours, sometimes even minutes. So what ends up happening is that you rely on your gut feeling, you pick the best one, and then you hope for the best. And therefore, there's an iconic saying of the father of marketing that like 50% of our marketing budget is wasted, but we actually don't know which part. And this was kind of a revelation for me since I'm an economist myself. I started to look for scalable and awesome ways how we can change this process. And this was the initial inspiration for AttentionInsight, because I was looking for a way to do pre-campaign testing. So 5 years later, this is where we are. And AttentionInsight is enabling brands to do quick and scalable user testing before they hit launch button. And we are saving thousands for user research and failed A/B tests.
Like you said, AttentionInsight is a pre-launch marketing campaign analytics. It's enabling marketers and brand managers to optimize their campaigns prior to their launch. It's incredibly cool. But what is it that makes your offering different from other services out there? Because it is somewhat of a crowded space right now, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of brands are relying on data-driven optimizations, especially they invest a lot into A/B testing. So just to put in light of how AttentionInsight can fit into their workflow is in comparison, for example, with A/B testing. You can test 10, 20 different design versions with AttentionInsight in a matter of minutes. In a real-world scenario of A/B testing, you would need to drive traffic to your site. You would need to wait for 2 to 3 months to collect the appropriate amount of users in kind of each design cycle. So you can test maybe 2, if you're lucky, 4 different design versions within a month. With AttentionInsight, you can test 10, 20 in a matter of 1 day. So I do believe that the speed is of the essence here. And also the second part is that since we rely on AI-driven data, we don't need any data collection. So that means you don't need to do any clunky integrations into your site or into your campaigns. You can just go ahead, log in, upload designs you want to analyze, and in a few seconds, you'll get attention heat maps that quickly guide you through what things were seen or not in your design. And also, this is a very important part for small business owners who don't have sufficient enough traffic, that we don't require to have traffic so you can test low traffic sites. And as well as kind of the king of it all, of course, we all monitor our competitors. So with AttentionInsight, you can analyze not only your website, but you can peek to your competition, see what they do best, see what mistakes they're making, and then improve on that. So these 4 key pillars: speed, no need of integration, testing of low traffic sites, and peeking into competition would be kind of the key standing factors of how we are different from other solutions out there.
So do you have any use cases that would possibly bring everything that you do to life and help marketers and brand managers that could be listening to this podcast today understand how it might work in their world and deliver value in their world too?
So basically, I will rely on several of our clients' cases. So imagine you are a brand manager of e-com store, and you are launching a specific landing page for one of your top products. And of course, this page is kind of aimed for users to convert to paying customers. So there are kind of key elements that they need to see before they can decide if they want to jump in with your brand. So the most important elements of your site would be the main key value that your product provides for your users, the product or a service itself, and also the call to action. So basically what a user needs to do when he or she makes a decision to stay with you. And let's say your agency provided you with the 2 versions of the same landing page, which the content is the same. So basically you have the same message, the same image of your product, and the same call to action button, but the design is very different. So you have different colors, you have different background, you have different elements and different layouts. So what you can do with AttentionInsight, you can load all 2 designs into our system, quickly click Analyze, and in a few minutes, you would see how users would evaluate your site. So you instantly can see if there are certain errors made in your design. So let's say, for example, in one design, your call to action button is not visible at all because it's placed somewhere in the corner. So you can instantly spot where are design mistakes made. Some of our clients even call us the spell check for design. So we basically can check whenever the most important elements are being visible by the user. And with this information, you can quickly make a decision which design version performs better, and then go ahead and implement it. And also, if you already have a live site, you can go ahead and enter your URL and quickly scan your site to see what things can be improved, if the design is clear enough, or is the most important elements are grabbing users' attention. So these are kind of the specific use cases of how our users is using us, and we are thrilled to see that they are able to reach better results with us. One of our recent clients, they reached 30% uplift in their click-through rates after implementing several cycles of analysis. So basically, this is empowering all marketers to do kind of A/B testing on the steroids.
And before you came on the podcast today, I was doing a bit of research and I quickly came across AttentionInsight's heat maps that, from my understanding, are powered by AI to indicate which objects of the design the user will notice first. And for anyone that's listening that doesn't know anything about those heat maps and how you're using AI, could you just tell me a little bit more about that for everyone listening?
Of course, and you're right on the point with the attention heat map description. So basically, AttentionInsight heat maps powered by AI, just like eye tracking studies heat maps, they show which areas of visual is being viewed the most by users. So we are different than, for example, mouse tracking heat maps because they are basing their technology on mouse movements, and we are actually relying on real eyeballs, so literally where people are looking. So not digging in too deeply into the geek stuff of how we built our technology, I'll try to explain it in a kind of very easy way. So basically, at first, we built the algorithm itself, and then we showed to the AI how human vision operates. So basically, how we see colors, shapes, different environment faces. And on the second training level, we trained it with how users interact with different content types. So let's say how users are behaving on websites, on landing pages, on e-com stores, or with different marketing material. So at the moment, our AI is basically 90% accurate in comparison with real-world eye tracking study. What it means is that we can simulate human vision with the accuracy of 90 to 94%. And the best part about our AI is that it is approved by MIT Accuracy Benchmark. So our clients can be very sure that our technology is safe to use and accurate enough.
And I'm curious, because we are living in the age of, one-click Amazon checkouts and the simplification of everything. And we kind of take that expectation with us everywhere. So I'm curious, are clients increasingly expecting user-centric, data-driven decisions about designs, but without labor-heavy data collection processes? Are you noticing any changes there and that kind of design?
So all companies are striving for quick and agile ways to make their decisions in-house. And of course, they want to serve their users the best. So they are relying on user-centric techniques. And user research and kind of last decade or so was kind of the only way how you could do things. But for that, you, of course, needed to collect the data, analyze the data, and wait for 2 weeks or a month to be able to get your hands on the report. And now, in an ever-changing business environment, specifically during COVID, when all businesses moved online, they were super centric on the users, but they were hesitant to kind of wait even a day or so because they wanted to adapt and launch as best e-com stores and as best landing pages as possible. So what we see is that the higher demand for more agile solutions are coming into the market. And also what I'm super happy about, while coming from research background myself, is that even top research agencies are now using AI as an awesome tool to do first stages of user analysis. So I do believe that this trend will kind of continue to grow throughout the industry, and where AI insights will become a standard for all brand managers and all business owners around.
And from the conversations you're having with business leaders out there and your customers, of course, are there any other trends that you're noticing right now in the industry?
Mm-hmm. Of course. So there are quite a few. Maybe I'll leave AI for kind of the very end because this is the biggest one and we are working in the field. And let's dig a bit deeper into our industry, which is marketing. So basically, personalization is one of the key trends now. More than 80% of users say that they prefer brands who tailor make their messaging and their campaigns to best fit their needs. So I do believe that personalization, specifically in e-com store, is playing a huge role. And also the second trend that I'm super curious about where it will take us in a few years or so is increasing visual search. So at the moment, 19% of Google search is actually visual search. Where instead of typing keywords, you are uploading images, or you're typing keywords, but instead of using kind of the normal Google search results, you're using an image result. And it's very curious because 62% of millennials are actually preferring visual search over other means of search. And this empowers brands to communicate to their clients in a visual way. And also it provides them with kind of a great playground to see how they can stand out of the competition when users are implementing visual search. And we actually have several cases with some of the clients that are using AttentionInsight heat maps to make sure that when users type their product categories, so let's say it would be apparel, sportswear for women, that their brand and products stand out visually from the crowd when they do searches. And of course, AI is the ultimate trend in the industry, and we closely follow where marketing are using it. Mostly now, we see that companies and marketeers tend to apply AI to optimize their processes, both in speed and improvement of the results. The way I see it, that AI will become a key shaping factor of all industries cross-wide. And I do believe that there's certain skepticism around AI and certain fear, because everyone is afraid that AI will take over their work. But what I do talk about a lot during conferences and during keynote speeches is that AI will not replace marketeers. But marketeers who leverage and uses AI will replace the ones that do not. So I encourage all listeners to be very open-minded, and no matter which industry you are operating in, look into the key players that provide added value and leverage just AI, and be the first mover in the market, because this is a very significant advantage that you can put yourself in front, and also in that sense be very different than your industry competitors.
I'm curious because things are constantly evolving at the moment, and every business has to evolve and adapt, especially over the last 6 months alone. But how are you going to continue to leverage technology to serve your customers at AttentionInsight and also help them adapt and evolve too?
Mm-hmm. We are always looking into ways how we can serve our users the best. We do have a very active user community who provides us certain feedback and recommendations, because I'm, as a business leader, I truly believe that user-centric product growth is the key. So several recent updates that we have, we started to work on different integrations. So at the moment, AttentionInsight released plugins for Sketch and Adobe XD, which is a design software. And we're also working on the integration to Figma. And also we recently released Chrome extension, where our users can get attention heat map in a matter of one click. And also for the future, we are planning to build on the new module for recommendations. So let's say after you implement analysis with AttentionInsight, you would get recommendations of what are the average visibility scores compared to yours, what things you can improve. We are building contrast checker whenever you can check if the contrast is great in between your call to action button and your background and different materials. So we want to loop in more and more recommendations and assistance for our users. And also one of the key things for 2021, maybe late 2021, is the video analysis feature that we are building. Because now with AttentionInsight, you can analyze your marketing campaigns and your websites, any kind of websites. But in a recent future, you will be able to also test a video content, which is kind of the key growing trend in the marketing.
And I'm conscious it is, let's say, a turbulent year, for want of a better phrase. But what is it that excites you about the future of AI-powered design analytics, and end on a positive note today?
Yeah, I really loved how you said how it was a kind of a turbulence year, to say the slightest. I do believe that a lot of industries were reshaped, fallen apart, and rebuilded in the last 9 months or so. And let's not dig into kind of the greedy details about it, but I'm an optimist myself, and I do believe that things are happening for a reason. And one of the key things that I see the industry growing into is that AI, and specifically AI-powered analytics, will become a standard in marketing world, where all agencies and brand managers, together with marketing clients, will be able to quickly optimize the campaigns for the user-centric way. Because now what we are seeing is that user, of course, is a king, no matter which industry you're working in. But what I love about it is that brands are shaping their existence and their campaigns and their web presence to better fit users' needs. And now, during the lockdown that we had a chance to maybe breathe a bit, to think about how our users are shifting their priorities and how we as a business owners can address them the best. So I do believe that 2021 will be an awesome growth year for all industries. Let's keep our fingers crossed that no matter what, this will happen. And then and only then we can create the campaigns and brands that we're proud of.
And I'm going to hold you to that. We'll have you back on next year to celebrate the great year that is 2021.
Exactly. Are we saying, well, remember our podcast in 2020, in the late 2020? Well, 2021 showed that there are a lot of things that can happen differently as well. But I do believe that humans are very adaptive. So we survived a lot of things, and COVID is not the worst one. So I'm a big believer in a bright future. So hopefully when we talk in 2021, I can say how right I was during my optimistic monologue, how the future will be so bright.
I love that. And a perfect moment to end on. But before I do let you go, for anyone that would like to find out more information on anything that we've talked about today, what's the best way of finding you guys online and contacting your team if they've got any questions?
So basically, the only thing that you need to do, you need to open up your browser, type www.attentioninsight.com, and just shoot us an email. You can also write to me directly. I'm more than happy to talk with users at Camilla at AttentionInsight.com. And we are always striving to work with brands and marketers who want to grab and keep their customers' attention.
Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today, not just for talking about how AI is shaping the future of marketing, but also the story behind AttentionInsight as well. It's so important that we get that story out there. So I wish you the best of luck for the future. I will meet you back on this podcast in 2021 and we'll see what's happening there. But more than anything, just thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And public promise, I'll definitely come back in 2021 to review how the marketing year changed.
I urge anyone listening that were interested in what we were talking about there to check out the AttentionInsight website, because their algorithm trained over 30,000 images from real eye tracking studies. And the image datasets that they used are both open source and proprietary. And there were so many cool insights from that. I mean, participant attention duration was around 4 seconds. The average gender distribution was 58% and 42% of men. But the AttentionInsight visual predictions were 90% accurate for web images and 94% accuracy for all other images. So it is fascinating hearing more about AttentionInsight's attention prediction model and how it's based on deep learning, and it can automatically detect visual attention shifts that can be used as substitution for eye tracking studies too. But I've got to admit, I'm kicking myself for not asking today's guest more about the incredible startup scene in Lithuania, because I know there's a lot going on there, especially around blockchain and crypto and artificial intelligence. So for that reason alone, I've got to invite her back onto the podcast to learn more about that. So apologies for forgetting to delve into that subject. But for everyone listening, what did you think about the conversation today? Is there anything you'd like to share? Any questions you'd like to ask me? Or would you like to put where you live and that startup scene or the tech scene where you live on the map? Whatever it is, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or visit my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, where you'll find links to all my social channels and over 1,300 podcast interviews too. But that's it for another episode. I'll see you all bright and early, same place, same time tomorrow morning. But a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.